In 2017, Celtic enjoyed one of their most historic seasons in Scottish football, winning a treble. But what happens if you move their squad south of the border? How do they compare in England's top flight? And this really was a season to remember. In the league, they were near perfect, going invincible over 38 matches, whilst accumulating 106 points. Second place Aberdeen would trail them in the final table by 30 points. This is an exciting squad with some great young talent. Kieran Tierney is just 19 years old in 2016. This would be a breakout year for the young fullback. In 40 appearances, he would register 14 goals and assists, quickly becoming a huge contributor on the left-hand side of the field. In the middle of the park, they have a prime Tom Rogic. During his time in Glasgow, he'd win 16 trophies with the Hoops. From a goal-scoring perspective, the 16-17 season would be his best, as he found the back of the net 12 times. And finally up top, a prime Lee Griffiths. He did have a short spell in English football with Wolves. That single season would see him score 13 goals as he won the League One title at Molineux. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts to this higher level of competition. To have any chance of emulating their title success, they'll need to overcome the likes of Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, and Liverpool. The former lifted the Premier League under the stewardship of Antonio Conte. To say Celtic are operating in a different financial realm to those clubs would be an understatement. The only transfer activity of the summer window would see the loan signings of James Wilson, Lianco, and Real Betis fullback Alex Martinez. For the upcoming season, they'll be utilising a 4-1-2-3. With the likes of Lustig, McGregor, Armstrong, and Moussa Dembele, there's plenty of talent in this squad. Let's move through the season and see what happens. It would be a brutal start to their season in England. Just a single point in their opening 4 matches. Visiting White Hart Lane wouldn't be fruitful either. A Harry Kane brace ensured all 3 points stayed in North London. Having made such a slow start to the domestic campaign, Celtic's visit to Turf Moor became even more important. And this definitely won't be straightforward. This is a Burnley side managed by Sean Dyche. The game's opening goal would arrive in the 56th minute, as Andre Gray finds himself on the end of a perfect cross from the left. But the Scottish side weren't finished. Lee Griffiths is set away with a lovely ball over the top. He shows some great composure to score the equaliser. The game would end 1-1, earning them a second point of the season. A month later, and they'd face another massive test. Real-life champions Chelsea visited Celtic Park. Despite the West Londoners' star-studded 11, they struggled to get any foothold in the match. Lee Griffiths would open the scoring before McGregor added a second. The game would end 2-0 as Celtic registered their second league victory of the year. One player they do have on their books with plenty of experience in English football is Moussa Dembele. At Fulham, he'd score 15 goals in the Championship before moving north. As the temperature plummeted into December, Celtic would play their geographically closest rival in the league, Middlesbrough, eventually winning 2-0. At the midway stage of the season, things have been going a little rough. Celtic are sitting down in 16th position, avoiding the relegation zone on goal difference. They have only lost 7 out of 19, but they're struggling with dropping points from winning positions. Already they've lost 9. If they can convert some of those draws into wins, there's definitely a chance to climb up the table. But let's briefly move away from the league and see how they performed in other competitions. The Hoops would be eliminated early in both domestic cup competitions. After progressing through the qualification rounds, they'd earn a spot in the Champions League group stage. Back-to-back 2-0 defeats against Bayern Munich left their hopes of qualifying for the round of 16 in turmoil. And it wasn't going to get much easier. Their final group stage game would see them host perennial Europa League winners, Sevilla. Theirs is a highly talented squad. I'd also completely forgotten that Samir Nasri played for the club. In 31 appearances in southern Spain, he'd accumulate 6 goals and assists. Be the Scots who'd register a historic victory. James Forrest would open the scoring, as Sevilla had no reply. But despite that 3 points, they'd still face elimination from Europe's premier competition. At least sitting in third meant their European journey would continue in the Europa League. On paper, that should have meant an easier fixture, but with a draw from hell, they'd be facing Real Madrid. Any hopes of the Spanish giants resting their superstars were quickly extinguished. The opening leg would see Benzema, Ronaldo, Modric, Ramos all lining up for Los Blancos. Not to mention, they also had available a prime Gareth Bale. During his career, he played 20 Europa League matches with Tottenham, registering 10 goals and assists in total. It would only take 10 minutes for Karim Benzema to open the scoring, but Madrid couldn't find a second. Dembele was set away, and he'd secure a 1-1 draw. But that valiant effort in Glasgow would quickly unravel. Cristiano Ronaldo's opening goal in the 3rd minute would set the Spanish side on their way. The final result would be 4-0. Let's move back to the Premier League, though, and see what lies in store for the final few months. The start of a new year didn't bring much fortune to the side. They'd earned just a single league victory in the opening 9 matches of 2017. On the verge of picking up an unlikely point at Anfield, Daniel Sturridge's winner in the 82nd minute ensured that they'd return home with nothing. And it would be another ex-Liverpool man who denied them a few weeks later. Drawing 2-2 at home to Hull, Lazar Markovic was given way too much space, and his would be the winner. A rare win would materialise 428 miles from home in Southampton. The ball breaks down the wing before Lee Griffiths converts an 89th minute winner at the near post. Struggling for any momentum, the season would draw to a disappointing close with a 3-0 defeat against Arsenal. Some lax defending here, letting Walcott in. Here are Celtic's full season stats. They did enjoy some defensive stability, getting over 200 appearances from the keeper and the back 4. The team really seemed to share out the creative aspects of the game too, with assists coming from all over the field. One of their more disappointing performers, though, would surely be Scott Sinclair. In the 16-17 season, he would finish runner-up in the Golden Boot race, finding the back of the net 21 times in the Scottish League. In the UCL, he did a decent job this season, but he just couldn't replicate that form south of the border. Lee Griffiths was by far their most effectual player in front of goal, finding the back of the net 12 times during the course of the year. But where did they rank in the table? It would be a catastrophic second half of the season. Celtic would win just 3 out of their final 18 matches, with disastrous defeats against the likes of Leicester, Watford, Crystal Palace and Swansea. It meant narrowly they would be relegated. What's interesting, though, is they only lost 18 games all year. Once again, if they hadn't drawn so many, they would have comfortably survived in the table. In recent times, Glasgow Celtic have truly dominated Scottish football. Their shrewd operations in the transfer market, coupled with their unending desire to win, has seen them win countless trophies. Here, after moving them south of the border, they were unfortunate, but couldn't replicate that success they've enjoyed.